Tiger Creek runs down into the, let's see, I guess that's Riddle Creek it runs into. But anyhow, it's a small creek, and that area is known as the Tiger up there. That's where they got their name from that area.
Okay.
Okay, they actually came from Beatty's Butte.
Okay.
Which is right down on the Oregon-Nevada line.
Mm-hmm.
Now then, where were they from?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they're from the Beatty's Butte area.
Okay.
And how they got there, it's my theory that they're descendants from probably Miller and Lux horses.
Okay.
Possibly. Or some other big ranch. See what happened with the horses. Of course, the Spanish brought the horses up west of the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
And there were no horses in the Great Basin area on the east of the mountains. That was a barrier. Now, of course, Spain claimed clear up to the Oregon border. However, they never did occupy. I mean, you know, it was easy to, what you did like old Cortez or Balboa, one of them fellows waded into the Pacific Ocean, stuck his sword in the ocean and says, I hereby claim all the lands touched by these waters for the Queen of Spain, you know.
Yeah.
So that's what things were done back in those days. So, but anyhow, the most likely place, those horses came up, the Spanish brought them up the west of the mountains. Mm-hmm. And at the time California became a state, there was enough wild horses. They had a debate whether they were going to put the wild horse on the California flag instead of the bear. Mm-hmm. Of course, we got lots of horses, but you know, they had so many horses over there, they killed them quite often. Mm-hmm. Run them off the cliffs down there at Santa Barbara. They lanced them. They had a surplus of horses, but on this side there were no horses. Of course, when these ranchers came into the country east of the Cascades, well, the Cascades and Sierras, they meet right up here. But when those horses came here, they were brought here by ranchers like Miller and Lux, who had land from way down below Los Banos clear to the Canadian border. Mm-hmm. Different ranches scattered out. So they brought vaqueros and Spanish horses. Now then, of course, tigers are done. Got the dun factor. Whether they're gruyere or whether they're an actual dun, they still carry the dun factor. Mm-hmm. And not all Spanish horses are duns. I mean, you know, that's a misconception. That, of course, the Spanish, they brought all kinds of horses.
Yeah.
However, the dun factor, as far as I'm concerned, traces clear back to Portugal and Spain, probably the Sahara, which got mixed with other breeds, the Barb and so forth. So Spain they didn't have one horse, they had a mixture of horses. Mm-hmm. However, there's this type of horse that got isolated more or less on Beatty's Butte. When they used to run horses horseback, that was a place they couldn't get to very easy. So those horses stayed there a long time. Mm-hmm. Now it may have been Miller or Lux or Pete French or somebody else. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Or, you know, that's just speculation.
Yeah.
So those horses were isolated. There's a fellow by the name of Bob Bailey that was an old-time horse runner up there at Burns, and he said, well, if there's a place where such horses exist, and that's where I suggested to look. One time, I don't know, I went to Burns in 1960, but I was riding out on the point, which is east of Beatty's Butte, and I see this mare, which to me was a Spanish Mustang type horse. I told some people about it and they just laughed at me. But anyhow, to me, we've got wild horses under the law. It doesn't make any distinction, but to me, the Spanish Mustang is part of that population. And of course, all the horses east of the Mississippi River one time were mostly Spanish horses. Mm-hmm. The before the other breeds came in. But after these ranches came here, then the big ranches, then this whole strip of country from way up in Oregon clear down past Reno and in there, this became a big horse producing area. They produced thousands and thousands of head of horses.
Yeah.
And some of those had Spanish blood, and of course they started mixing everything else with them. One bigger horses and one thing and another. So, to me, Spanish Mustang is not necessarily a small horse, but at least a medium-sized horse. There's people that want these horses to be bigger, but
Yeah.
to me, I want them bigger. That's all right. People want to breed them that way, but I think our wild herd should not be big horses. They should be
Yeah.
small to medium sized. So now then, the way that who was involved? Okay, now there's three people that really were involved with the Kuypers, and that was Ron Hardy, which you got to give Ron a whole bucket full of credit for these horses. And there was me, which I was an area manager. I managed an area, and I was trying to save some of these lineback horses before Ron found these horses that were brought in from Beatty Butte. And then there was Chris Foster, who was the district manager. Of course, the wild horse law does not say that you protect any certain group of horses.
Yeah.
But to me, if we're going to have wild horses, we should preserve those unique bunches of horses, whether they're this group or some other group.
Yeah.
I think they should be preserved. And to me, to have and the dun color is a primitive color. That's the way horses, that's the basic color of wild horses. Even wild horses exist today, like the wild asses and stuff. They're all duns and gruias. And if you look at a zebra, I'm not sure, I haven't seen any blood test on zebras. However, I bet you they color the dun, carry the dun factor. I can show you pictures of zebras. I think it's there. And Mongolian wild horse, while it's got black up to its knees, you outcross it on a domestic horse, you get stripes.
Yeah.
Those stripes come out when you cross that.
Okay.
Anyhow, going back to, and then following the first three of us there, then Josh Warburton, he was the next district manager there, and he got pretty involved in the Kiger Mustang. So that's kind of where that progressed. These horses that got added in, I don't know that story.
Okay.
So I shouldn't comment on it. We did have, of course, some lineback horses there before. In fact, this is one of the first horses that we gathered off that Kiger area to start with. Was a mare that had a Ruya colt, and we looked at him kind of different, and so he wound up in the Portland Zoo. They recognized, hey, this is called Spanish Mustangs. It looked like the mare laid down and died after we gathered her.
Oh, wow.
She was extremely old
Oh.
and just being in confinement, but I would have guessed that she would have died that coming winter anyhow, because you look at her teeth, and her teeth said this mare is ancient.
Yeah.
But she was that type of horse.
Okay.
Now then, of course, the horses off of Beatty's Butte, they're not pure anything. You can't say, but all the horses, well, even a lot of our horse breeds relate back to horses that came from Spain, the thoroughbreds. And I just read the other day, hey, they had a tough time getting the line bred off of the thoroughbreds when they started out breeding them. So, but all those horses, see, you look at all the quarter horse and all these horses, they've got some of this Spanish type blood in them, but came in a little different track. Of course, when the Spanish came, they settled Florida and then the Southwest and up California. So that's where horses first came.
Okay.
So, but these animals added in, I don't know. Now then, without a DNA test I don't know how you would determine that the horses added in were more related to the Iberian old breeds
Yeah.
than any other horse. Now then we have a group of horses up here by Cedarville that they're striped, and they've got, you look at we've got DNA test on them, and they have Iberian old world blood in that group of horses, which is not the usual run. All of the horses got this Iberian blood in them, but this is old, traced back to the old Iberian bloodline. So, and you know, you look at the picture of supposedly what a barb is supposed to be, and I see lots of barb heads showing up. Now, Ron kind of wanted to get a horse with a little more decent face, you know, but that's not the way those horses were. So, like the barb, he was a flat-faced horse.
Yeah.
And so I can't really answer that
That's
question.
okay.
Vision for the Kiger fit into the founding of the KMA. Okay, now then we select these horses out, took the other horses out off the Kiger and put the ladies' beef horses back there.
Okay.
Then old Mustang, he was one of the stallions, and he stayed there a long time.
Okay.
So I don't know just how the KMA got formed. However, had it not got formed, you know, even on the range, we would have more difficulty building a case for keeping those horses there. So
Yeah.
the KMA association
Yeah.
is really important, not only to them, but the horses that we have on
An
the range.
official, yeah.
I mean, you know, it's a backup
Yeah.
for keeping them horses there.
Okay.
Okay, what do you feel could be done to protect and improve the Kiger breed? Okay, outside in the breed association horses. Of course, I'm one of these people that I'm opposed to white.
Mhm.
I don't think we should have white on Kigers.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I wouldn't tell the breed association you can't have white on your Tigers.
Yeah.
But for the wild herd, the stallions and the mares that go back out, I think we should make an effort not to put that white back out there, because that's kind of a mutation, and you can either build on it or you can subtract from it. Another color is gray.
Mhm.
And then I see a gray horse come in from the last gather I saw at Burns. He had the dorsal stripe. He was obviously a same type of horse.
Mhm.
I don't know what they run genetics on him, but I didn't see what. But gray, of course, is a dominant color over all other colors.
Mhm.
So rather than promoting that gray color, I'd like to see all that gray taken out. And the little dinky rinky horses, which there are some up there, take them out, you know, and just select the best you can select and put them back.
Yeah.
Of course, my theory on gathering horses is that you gather every horse you can gather and select what you want to go back and put them back on the reins.
Yeah.
That's the way we can improve the horses out on the reins.
Yeah.
So what the breed association does, that's
Another.
that's their ball game.
Okay.
And you know, and they've had a lot of arguments within the association, and of course Ron Harding got totally ticked off at them because of all these arguments. However, had the KMA not gone out and really promoted these horses, they wouldn't be what they were.
Yeah.
You know, that last the other they had in Burns, they 114. Was you up there?
No, I wasn't up there.
They had 114 head, went over $1,000. So there's real demand for those horses at that time. What's going to happen now, I don't know,
Yeah.
because the horse market is totally down all over. And I tell people, you know, if I were a lawyer defending a horse thief, I would ask him to plead insanity.
Mhm.
Because anybody that steals a horse today is not in their right mind, they can have one for free.
Yeah.
Fact is, they're turning them out on the range out
Yeah.
here.